أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We start with Surah Al-Fatiha in our classes, first in first, and then inshallah we start our lesson. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. We give it a few minutes for the brothers and sisters to join in. This is our first lesson. Last week we had the introduction lesson. It was just an introduction into first in first, the person teaching you, who is that person, just a quick and a very summarized bio of myself. And then we started with the lesson plan. What we're going to cover inshallah in these 5 lessons, and then right after that it was the topic of Usul Al-Din, and we did some of the Shia terminology. We will continue doing that inshallah, and inshallah we will continue with the lesson plan that we have planned for today, for this lesson, and next week's lesson is going to be fiqh. Inshallah, we will dive into that. So pay attention with me. We will go through them, inshallah, all together. If you have any questions, you are, of course, free to ask either in the comments below. You can write your questions and we answer them as soon as possible, or just email us. And the email will be shared in the description below as well. So if there is any questions regarding this class or the class we did last week, or any questions that you might have, please don't hesitate to write down the questions, and inshallah we will go through them together. So today's class is fiqh, and this is lesson 1. In this class inshallah we will cover a lot together, so be patient, keep up. Inshallah later on, after we uploaded this class, because we are doing the live broadcasting, after we upload this class we will have timelines on them, so you can skip ahead to the places that you want to listen to. And of course you have this PowerPoint that we're sharing today with you. You have that as well, that you can go through it yourself. So fiqh lesson 1. Last week, what we did was we went through Usul Al-Din, and we spoke about Usul Al-Din and the importance of Usul Al-Din. If you remember, what we did last week was we went through the 5 Usul Al-Din. We said there are 5 Usul Al-Din, and Usul Al-Din is what? Usul Al-Din is the root of the religion. The root of our religion is Usul Al-Din. And we gave the example of what? Example of the foundation of a house, and how important this is for us to have a very strong foundation, means for us to have a strong belief and faith. So Furu Al-Din is the branches of the religion. Like any tree, if you see, we have the roots and then we have the branches. So there are 10 acts of worship, ibadat, and are compulsory wajib on every Muslim when she becomes baligh or balighah. And we will speak about that as well inshallah. So compulsory wajib means that it is a necessary act, whether you like it or not. When you are Muslim, you have to do these 10 ibadah, these worships throughout your life. Because some of them, you might do them only once in your life. Others, you do it every day 5 times. So I have put them like this for you. For myself, when I do a PowerPoint, I'm very, very picky of how to show it to you. If you have any ideas, or if you have any ways that we can perfect these PowerPoints, or any other ways of performance that we can, inshallah, we can do it better, let me know. I will be happy to take your ideas into recommendation, and your recommendations into, inshallah, into account. So in front of you, you have 5 here, and in the other slide you have 5. We said there are 10 of them. Usul Al-Din, there are 5. Furu Al-Din, there are 10. So quickly we go through them. Salah is number 1. Salah, to pray 5 times a day. As we mentioned, there are things that you should do 5 times a day. From the time you become baligh or baligha, you do it 5 times a day. So salah is number 1. Number 2 is Sawm. Sawm means what? Sawm means is to fast in the month of Ramadan. In the month of Ramadan, Shahr Ramadan al-Mubarak, we fast from the first day of Shahr Ramadan al-Mubarak until the last day of Shahr Ramadan al-Mubarak. And that's wajib on every man and woman when they become baligh or baligha. Hajj, to go on pilgrimage to Mecca. This act of worship, that's Hajj, pilgrimage, we do it once in our lifetime. Once in our lifetime, we have to go to Hajj. It's wajib. If we have the money, we have the wealth, we have to go every year. Every year we have to go because we have the money, we have the wealth. So it's wajib on us to go every year. But if we don't have the money, once in a lifetime, we have to go to Hajj. Once in our lifetime, we have to go to pilgrimage. And inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this rizq to go to Hajj. Another one is zakat. Zakat means what? It means Islamic tax on gold, silver, grains, and livestock. Now for this one, if you don't have any gold, if you don't have any silver, if you don't have any grains or livestock, do you have to pay tax on it? Do you have to pay zakat on it? No. The ones who have, there is a calculation of how much they have to pay, and they have to go through this, and they can sum up the total of how much they have to pay every Islamic year. And then comes khums. Khums is also what? It's Islamic tax on savings. That's different. We have zakat and we have khums. Khums is Islamic tax on savings. So for you to understand this, is just learn the headings. Just learn what they are. Salah, Sawm, Hajj, Zakat, and Khums. And inshallah later on we go into more of description of what these 5 and the other 5 are. So the 10, we go more in description of how can I prepare for Salat, what makes my Salah batil, what's makruh, what's haram, and all those things. Now the other one that comes after Khums is Jihad. Jihad means what? Means fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to defend Islam. To defend Islam, that's Jihad. So for example, we have people now fighting Daesh in Iraq. They're doing Jihad because they're fighting people who want to destroy Islam, people who want to destroy our religion, wants to destroy the shrines of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam. So these are what these people are doing. They are fighting the Daesh, the ISIS, and they are fighting the ones who are against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in a way, they are defending Islam. After jihad comes Amr bil Ma'ruf. Amr bil Ma'ruf, enjoining good. In English, it's called enjoining good. And I think you heard of this when we speak about Imam al-Hussein during the month of Muharram and Safar. We say Imam al-Hussein did what? Amr bil Ma'ruf. And Imam al-Hussein wrote a letter to his brother Muhammad ibn Hanafiyyah. And he said to his brother Muhammad ibn Hanafiyyah that I'm coming out لكي آمر بالمعروف وأنهى عن المنكر. So you heard this before. What does it mean? It means to enjoy good. That means to tell others to do good. For example, I tell you, brothers and sisters, recite Surah Al-Waqa'ah today. Recite Surah Al-Hamd today. Pray 2 rak'ah today. This is Amr bil Ma'ruf. Then other one, the opposite of Amr bil Ma'ruf, because Amr bil Ma'ruf, you're doing what? You're telling people to do something that is good. The opposite of that is what? Is Nahi anil Munkar. Nahi anil Munkar is you want to forbid people of doing something. So forbidding people, others from doing evil. If you see someone, for example, doing haram, unfortunately, you see a lot of people doing ghiba these days, backbiting. You tell them, brothers, sisters, please stop with your backbiting. This is what? This is nahi anil munkar. Nahi anil munkar means what? To forbid people, to stop them from doing anything that is what? Bad, that is evil. That's what nahi al-munkar is. Right after that comes tawalli, loving the ma'sumin alayhim salam and their friends. That's why we love Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wassalam. We love the Imams. We love Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Hussein, Lady Fatima al-Zahra. We love all our 14 infallibles, and we love all of 124,000 prophets. And we love the ones who love these 14 infallibles and 124,000 prophets. For example, when you go to Karbala al-Muqaddasa, when you go to the haram of Imam al-Hussein, in the shrine of Imam al-Hussein, as soon as you enter the shrine, on your left, there is a darih, a tomb for a sahabi, a companion of Imam al-Hussein by the name of Habib ibn Mudahir. We love Habib ibn Mudahir. He was a companion of Imam al-Hussein. We love him because of his love and his devotion, as loyalty toward Imam al-Hussein. Abu Dhar al-Ghafari, Salman al-Muhammadi, and other companions that loved Ahlul Bayt and that sacrificed everything for Ahlul Bayt and they were loyal to Ahlul Bayt. So we have tawalli. We love those who are lovers of Ahlul Bayt, and of course we love Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim ajma'een, and we love the prophets. Tabarri is actually the opposite of it. Tabarri is what? We do not love the ones who don't love Ahlul Bayt. The enemies, do we love them? No. So not befriending the enemies of the ma'sumin. Someone who hates Imam al-Hussein, who fought Imam al-Hussein. For example, here we have the example of Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Do we say Yazid was good and Imam Hussein was good? No. There is one that was good and the other one was evil. You cannot say both are the same. Both cannot be good and both cannot be evil. Yes, we love Ahlul Bayt, we love Imam al-Hussein, but we hate, we dislike the ones who were enemies of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal salati wassalam. Now, after the 10 Furu Al-Din, let's go dive into Najis parts and what is Najis and what can we do to become tahir. First, let's go through the Najasat. So what is Najis? Najasat means in Islamic law, in Arabic, Najis means ritually unclean. Ritually unclean means Najis. So what we did was, we covered Furu Al-Din, just the 10 of them, and then now we're diving into Najasat. So in your PowerPoints, inshallah, when I share it with you, you can go through these by yourself as well. So we have Najasat, we have Najis, that is impure, that's not clean, that's ritually unclean. You know, Islam is very, very picky when it comes to najis and tahir. When it comes to someone who is tahir and someone who is najis. Islam is very picky. And Islam has a whole list of what's najis. And in front of you, you have the list. So, najasatul ayn, there are 10 things that are najis by nature. They are najis by nature. They can't become tahir by simply washing them. These 10 things are called Najasatul Ayn. And in front of you, you have 8 of them. And we go through, inshallah, the rest later on. So urine is number 1. Urine itself cannot be tahir. You cannot make urine tahir. So urine stays najis. Urine itself. But if you have nastajiru billah, for some people, they don't care about this, especially in Western countries. Of them becoming tahir or becoming najis, especially when they go to school or they go to work, they just stand up and they urinate, and what happens to them? They become najis. So after that, they do wudu and they stand to pray. If you tell them, brother, sister, you are now najis, you have to make yourself tahir, they don't understand what najis means and what must be done to become tahir. So this is why we are covering this very important lesson. It's not for one age group. You don't think it's for just the youngsters. It's also for the adults, because even some adults, unfortunately, sadly, they don't take this into consideration, that this is najis. You shouldn't be going to the bathroom without washing yourself. You shouldn't be having any of the najasat on your body. So urine is number one. Urine, number one. Number two is stool. Number two. Number three is blood. The human blood, our blood is najis. In this time and age, you see some people, when they cut their fingers, they suck on their finger. And you say to them, why are you doing that? For it to stop bleeding. Can I do such a thing? No, because that blood is najis. And whatever it came contact with, it becomes also najis. After blood, we have semen. Semen is also najis. We come to that when we speak about alamatul bulugh and what is required when this happens. What should I do? Dogs in nature, that are najis. So can I get a puppy, bring him at home, even if it's a very cute puppy? No, because it's najis. You cannot do that. That puppy, if you bring a dog or puppy, whatever it is, to bring them home, they become what? They become this najis animal who enters a house, and whatever they come in contact with, everything they come in contact with becomes najis. So dogs, even though if they're cute, if some people think they are cute and they're nice to have, you cannot bring them to your house. You can't have a pet as a dog. Also pigs are najis in nature. For dogs and pigs are najis and they're haram to eat. Some cultures, they eat them, dogs and pigs. So dogs and pigs, they are najis. So if you touch a dog, you become najis. If you touch a pig, you become najis. Now if you take someone to a petting zoo and they see a dog in front of them, they want to touch them. Or they go to a petting zoo and they touch a pig, they become najis. Alcohol is also najis. We're coming closer to the season of what? Christmas. In the season of Christmas, when everyone is, in celebration, they're celebrating, especially in Western cultures, in Western countries, you might go to a shopping center and in the parking lot, you see some beer bottles. So do I go near that? No. Do I go pick it up and throw it in the bin? No. So I avoid touching any alcohol beverages because they are najis. Also, kafir is a najis. What's a kafir? The one who doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is an infidel. She or he, they don't believe in God, the Almighty, they're also najis. So if someone, kafir, touches your hand, you also become tahir according to many of the ulama, many of the maraji' al-taqleed. So how does najasa transfer from one object to another? So we have to know. Now if I see a dog walking by, just me looking at the dog, did I become najis? No, it doesn't work like that. So there is these guidelines that teaches you that this is how this becomes najis and this is how you become pure, you become tahir. For a thing to become najis, number one, it must come into contact with one of the 10 najasatul ayn. So we mentioned the najis things, it must come in contact with those. If it came in contact with those, then it becomes what? Najis. So there has to be some wetness or dampness between them. It has to be wet. Either your hands are wet or the object, the thing is wet. For example, the dog, it just rained and the dog is wet. And it came near you and you touched the dog. Because the dog is wet and you are wet, your hands are wet, you became najis. So there has to be what? There has to be some wetness or dampness. And then, continuing with it, you must be sure there has been transfer of najasa. If you are in doubt, you should assume the thing that was tahir is still tahir. So how can I tell? How can I tell if something is najis now? There are three things. There are three things I take into contact. I take into consideration. If these three things are there, that means that thing is najis. One is color. Color. One is color. The other one is taste. Taste. Yes? And the other one is smell. Smell. So color, taste, smell. Color, taste, smell. So for example, if your gum is bleeding, you can taste the blood. You can taste the blood. If there is a najasa in the room, there's najasa in the room, you can smell the najasa. You can smell urine. You can smell stool. You can smell it. Yes? And we said color. So if I'm wearing something like this, a shirt that is white, okay, and some blood dripped on it, I can see it. So blood is what color? Red. So if I see some red coloring on my blood, on my shirt, and I look at it, I say, okay, this is not ketchup. I didn't eat anything that was, in need of ketchup. So what is it? Can it be crayon? No. Can it be color pencil? No. It looks like blood. And I can see that it's like blood. The coloring is the color of blood. So I can tell, okay, yeah, because my nose was bleeding, then this is najis. So I'm sure because of my nose was bleeding and dripped on my clothing, and now it became najis because of the color that it's on my shirt. But if it's green, can you say, well, I don't know if this blood or not? Well, there is no green blood unless you are a goblin. Yeah? Now, continuing. So you have to be sure of what this thing is najis or not. To be sure that a thing is najis, you must have seen it becoming najis itself. You have to see it. All right? If you didn't witness it, how can you be sure this is najis? How can you be sure? Continuing, the owner tells you it is najis. Example, if you go, a cook tells you the food or a pot is najis. If you go to someone's house, they tell you, brother, don't pray there, don't pray here, don't pray here. Why? Because it's najis there. My son, he's learning to go to the bathroom. He's getting, teachings from us to go to the bathroom. It's najis there, najis there, najis there. So don't pray there. Now, do I have to question them? How did it become najis? What happened? Well, he's telling you it's najis, and he has put something to cover the najasa. So even if someone goes to a kitchen, and you see someone telling you this is najis, that is najis, because the person was there before you, they know. The owner tells you it is najis. So we avoid that what was being mentioned to us that is najis. To adil Muslims tell you they know something is najis. Adil means what? To just people, to mature just people. They tell me, Sayyid, this is najis. They tell you, Fulan, this is najis. Fulana, this is najis. That's enough. That's enough for you to know this is najis and must become tahir. We have to be in contact of tahara. Now, blood. Blood is the one that we come in contact with, most of the time, and people that don't know this. So the human blood is najis. Human blood is najis. It doesn't matter of the age, okay, of the person. It's najis. The blood of humans and animals whose blood comes out with a force is najisul ayn. So we have animals that their blood gushes out. We have animals that the blood doesn't gush out. So the one that the blood gushes out, you can see it here. The animal that the blood gushes out, comes out with a force, that blood is najis. So animal blood, so continuing with that, just to make it clearer, the blood of animals whose blood does not gush, that doesn't come out with force, like fish and insects, is tahir. Alright? Fish or insect blood is tahir. So if you go fishing and you caught some fish and you see some blood on it, all right, a snapper or a salmon, whatever it was, that blood is tahir. Also, if you go to a butchery and if you're buying some meat and if you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna get some steaks or some lamb shanks or whatever it is, and you see some blood on it, it's tahir. But it is recommended to wash it before you cook it, because some people, they don't. It's good to wash it, clean it, remove all of that blood, even if it's tahir, and then what? Cook and consume it. All right, now on a shirt, going back to that example, if some blood is seen on clothes and you are not sure whether it is the blood of an insect or human blood, it is tahir. If you're not sure, remember, for something to be najis, you have to be sure. It doesn't mean that, okay, I see blood here, I see blood there, and I knew I had nosebleed, I had my teeth, my gum was bleeding, but I don't take that into consideration. But if I see something that it looks like, some blood from an insect, or a blood that I went fishing and there was blood there, so some blood from a human, from an animal, not from human, not from myself, or if I came into contact of someone who was bleeding. Now, this happens if someone works in a butchery, all right? And they, in a butchery, blood comes in contact with their shirts, or their face, or their hands. So it is recommended to change your clothing before you pray, but you are not najis, but it is recommended to become more pure. Now, food or drink that has been touched by a dog or a pig is najis, and it is haram to eat it. If a dog licks a pot or container, it should be first rubbed with clean earth mixed with a little water and then washed. Then it should be purified at least twice with running water. This should be happening. Now, in what scenario does the person have a dog? It is permissible to have a dog if you bring in a dog for the reason to secure your premises, to be a security. For that reason, it's fine. If someone has a big farm and they need a couple of dogs to keep the farm, safe from wild animals, it's okay. So if I put in front of them some food in a pot or container, how do I come into cleaning that, making that tahir? You see it happening like that. First, you clean it with earth, that means with dirt, with turab, and then you wash it with little water, and then you wash it with running water twice. When a speck of blood, this happens anytime we want to make breakfast. Some of the eggs, especially the brown eggs, they have blood in them. The white ones, and it's rare to find white throughout the shopping centers, you always come in contact with the brown egg. So you want to make some omelette or some scrambled egg or whatever it is, and you opened up the egg to make it. So you see some blood in it. When a speck of blood is seen in an egg, the part of the egg where the blood has not spread is tahir. But as ihtiyat wajib, ihtiyat means what? To be precautious, to take precaution. You should not eat an egg that has even a small speck of blood. So you see in here, in this picture, you see some blood. Yeah? How can I remove that blood? The easiest way is with the same eggshell that I broke that egg coming out of it. I use the same eggshell to remove the blood. Before I consume it. So if you see a little bit of blood here or on the yolk or whatever it is, with the eggshell, remove the blood and then you can consume it. So it's ihtiyat wajib. This terminology means what? To be precautious, to have precaution when you come in contact with anything like this. Some people, they don't care. They say, all right, it's fine. They just eat that. These ihtiyatat, these precaution measures are very important, especially for these young lads, men and women out there, you dear brothers and sisters. You should always take this into consideration. When it says ihtiyat, be precautionate. If you've been to shopping center, you see these signs that they say to you, be careful, it's slippery. Why do they have these signs? Because they don't want you to fall. They don't want you to hurt yourself because it's hazardous. All right. Same thing happens when it comes to Islam. Islam is very, very specific, and it's very, very careful when it comes to this kind of measures. Islam tells you in this part, be careful, be what? Precautionist. Know that this, even if it's not haram, even if it's not makruh, don't do it. Try not to do it. So in this measure here, in this part, it tells you not to eat that. It's better to remove that blood. Okay, continuing with our lesson. Now, we have najasat, we have hadath, and we have khabath. Hadath and khabath. Even though we're going through this, you can later on, we're going through it live, you can come and go through this by yourself when you have your PowerPoint as well. You have the document, the PDF document. Go through it by yourself and try to understand this. It's very easy if you read it very carefully, and that's what we're going to do, inshallah. When a tahir object comes into contact with najasat al-ayn or najas al-ayn, it becomes najis and is called mutanajjis. Mutanajjis things can be divided into two. One hadath and the other one khabath. A hadath najis or hadath najasa is one that requires a specific niyyah and wudu'. That is what? Hadath. Or ghusl, to remove it and make it tahir again. The ones that require ghusl are hadathul akbar. Hadathul akbar. Example, janaba or touching a dead body. Janaba or touching a dead body. We'll come to janaba in a minute, what janaba means. And those that require wudu only are called hadathul asghar. Hadathul asghar is the one that this happens every day. Hadathul akbar, it doesn't happen every single day. Sleep, passing wind, going to toilet. This is hadathul asghar. Hadathul asghar means that you do wudu. So if I did wudu and then I thought, okay, salah is about half an hour and it's quiet, let me take a nap. And I went and I took a nap, for 5 minutes. I closed my eyes and I went and I took a nap for 5 minutes. When I did that and I couldn't hear anything, I took that nap. My wudu now is batil. I have to do my wudu again. This is hadathul asghar. Or passing wind, hadathul asghar. Going to the toilet, hadathul asghar. Hadathul akbar is what? Is janaba, or touching dead body. The reason I'm going through this in these lessons is because there are many people, unfortunately, sadly, in the community, any age group you look at, this happens. They don't take this into consideration, that this is very, very important when it comes to najasat. They don't care. They go to the bathroom, they stand up, they urinate, and they leave. And they don't make themselves tahir. Or you see some specks of blood on their shirt, they don't care. They stand up to pray. Or they do what they will do, they take a nap, they get up and they pray. And you tell them, what happened? Well, I prayed after I did wudu. I know that. But you were what? Sleeping, you were taking a nap. How could you do wudu? And then go sleep and then do wudu after it. It doesn't work like that. So this happens, unfortunately, every time you see people in the mosque, every time you see the people, if you go to camping, these things happen. And these things should be stopped. So what is required here is to know it, to stop it. To know it, to stop it. And that's why we're doing this. Now, a khabath najasa does not require any niyyah. So, a khabath najasa does not require any niyyah, wudu or ghusl to make it tahir again. Niyyah means what? Intention. Niyyah means what? Intention. So, for ghusl, I need intention, yes? For wudu, I need intention. A khabath najasa does not require any niyyah, wudu or ghusl to make it tahir again. This is khabath. When I go to the bathroom I don't have to make intention that I'm washing myself, I'm cleaning myself from urine or stool. I don't need that niyyah. All right, that comes on when you are doing what? Ghusl. This happens when you're doing ghusl. And we talk about the niyyah, inshallah, in the next class. So this is usually a najasa that is external to the body, such as najis clothes, or najasa that touches the outside of your body. You simply wash it away without requiring any wudu or ghusl. Okay, I see there are some questions on the chat. You can ask your questions there. Inshallah, we go through the questions in the end of the lesson. And that's very good. I'm very happy that I see some people asking questions. So that's hadath and that's khabath. You can go through that in your own time, read it through, and if you have any questions, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be shy to ask. We are here all to learn together, inshallah. So mutanajjisat, we are all here, inshallah, to learn. And then when it comes to mutanajjisat, we have hadath requires a niyyah and wudu or ghusl. Khabath doesn't require niyyah, wudu or ghusl. And then hadath al-akbar requires a ghusl. Hadath al-asghar requires a wudu. So you have this table in front of you. It makes it very easy for everyone to look at it. And it goes through the required parts that needs ghusl and what doesn't need ghusl, that is only wudu. It's fine. With wudu, it's okay. Now, this is the lesson that we want to focus on today. Yes, this is very important. I go through this every time with my class students. I go through this every time with my classmates. I look at them as my classmates. I look at them as inshallah, the future man and woman. So bulugh means what? What is the importance of this lesson? Why are we learning about bulugh? As boys and girls grow into man and woman, they change physically and emotionally. The period during which these changes take place is called puberty, or bulugh in Arabic. Now, how important is this? Should I learn something when it comes to the time I become baligh or baligha? Yes, definitely. You see, the ibadat, the ones we mentioned in the beginning of the lesson, the Furu Al-Din, the branches of the religion, even Usul Al-Din, you should start learning this even if you are under the age of bulugh. If you're under 15, if you're under 9, 12, the age of bulugh, and we come to that in a minute. So why do I need to learn about this beforehand? It's because when you come to this age of bulugh, you're all ready. You know what's required from you and what's not required from you. What should be done. This is very important. You see, if you plant a seed in a soil, if you go, for example, here in Sydney, we have many shops, you have many places that you can buy seeds and you can buy soil and fertilizers. If you go to Bunnings, Flower Power, Tim's Garden, when you buy a seed for anything, if you tell them, I want a citrus tree, I want to plant to get an orange tree, for it there is a whole guideline. They tell you, okay, you have to, with it, put fertilizer, you have to give it water that much of the day. Does it need to be under direct sunshine, or no, it can be in shade? It's very important that you go through this for that seed to become what? To become a tree. Even when it comes, this is an example for young man and woman. You cannot just jump into bulugh and think, okay, I'm gonna learn it now on. It's better to know about this beforehand. So when you are at the age of bulugh, when you enter the time of your puberty, you know what's required of you. So this is why we're going through this lesson. Now, bulugh, Boys usually become baligh between the ages of 12 or 15. 12 or 15, they become baligh. At this age, they become what? Baligh. 12 or 15 of age. Depending on when they see signs of bulugh on their bodies. Girls mature earlier and are usually considered to be baligha from the age of 9 or 12 years as per the Islamic calendar. Some of the maraji, some of the scholars, they say at the age of 12. Others, they say at the age of 9. The reason being behind this is that because they're weak and they can't pray, or the prayer is not that much of a problem, but it comes with the siyam. With siyam, they have an issue, some of the girls, to perform siyam. So at this age, what happens is, some of the maraji, they tell you at the age of what? 12, 9 or 12. So for the boys, it's at the age of 12 or 15. Of course, after seeing signs of the bulugh on the body. So why is it important to know? When a person becomes baligha, she becomes a mukallaf. This is the word that we want to look at, mukallaf. And must perform what? All wajib actions, such as salah, som, hajj, and so on. So whatever you do is written down. So the two malaika, the two angels, that you have one on your right side and the other on your left side, they're writing everything down when you become baligh, when you become baligha. So som, hajj, and so on. A baligha or baligh person should therefore make an intention to do taqleed of a marja who she will refer to for guidance in Islamic fiqh. And we go through, inshallah, what this means. Taqleed of a marja. What does it mean for I to go through muqallid? How important it is for me to follow a marja al-taqleed. Now, there are various physical signs of bulugh. Some are common to both boys and girls, like the growth of hair under the armpits and below the navel, referred to as pubic hair. Pubic hair is described as coarse hair. Soft hair is not a sign of bulugh. Other signs are unique to each gender. For example, for some boys, their voices changes. It becomes more manly. It becomes more manly. It becomes more muscular. It becomes thicker. And you see some hair growing here. You see some hair under the armpits. So, and some hair down under. So this is very important. When a person, these signs happen, they know, okay, I'm baligha. I should know my hukum. What's required of me? What should I do? So, bulugh in boys, and we are covering for the boys here in this lesson. For the girls, inshallah, we have one of our teachers to cover the girls' lesson. In our school, this is what we do. We have a whole lesson for the boys, for them to learn about what is required of them, and we have a lesson for the girls. So for the boys, bulugh in boys, as a boy starts maturing physically, he experiences growth of hair under the armpits, a mustache and beard. So this is nothing to be afraid of. You're becoming a man, and this is a good sign. So you're coming out of childhood. You're coming out of that circle of being a child and a kid into manhood. You're becoming a man. He is considered baligh when any of these three signs appear in him. So number one, the body begins to produce and discharge semen. When this happens, the person is in the state of janaba and must perform ghusl al-janaba to become tahir. We go through ghusl al-janaba inshallah in the next lesson with the mutahharat. Now, if this happens, you have to do ghusl al-janaba, growth of pubic hair below the navel. The boys reaches the age of 15 according to Islamic calendar. So he reaches the age of 15. And for the girls, we mentioned 9 or 12. It is makruh for a man or woman to have any or very long pubic hair or hair under the armpit, it is recommended to shave or at least trim the hair on the regular basis. Because you see this sometimes when you go to swimming pools, you see a lot of people that have a lot of hair. It is recommended under Islamic regulations and laws to cut that, to shave it off. Now, what is haram in the state of janaba? So I woke up in the morning and I'm in the state of janaba. That means I did what? I have discharged semen. So what is haram in this state? And I mentioned this for the brothers and sisters out there, especially for the brothers. They should know this ahkam. They should know what is required from them, what they should do, because I hear a lot of, unfortunately, families telling me, Sayyid, they don't know. My son doesn't know. My daughter doesn't know. Why? Because no one taught them this. And this is why I'm doing this on live YouTube, that everyone can hear this and they can learn of what is required of them. So when they come into the state of janaba, first in first, some people, they panic. They don't know what happened. I have no idea. And they don't want to talk about these kind of things with their parents. They don't want to. I have students in my class, they tell me this, say it, I don't want to speak about this to my parents. It's a very private matter. I don't want to tell my mother, definitely not my mother, and definitely not my father. I don't want to do that. What should I do? First in first, keep it down under. So keep it quiet. You don't have to, mention it to everyone. You don't have to broadcast it. You don't have to do that. First in first, your clothes are najis. The sheets you were sleeping on are najis if they have come into contact to any semen. So I assume you all have laundry rooms. You have a laundry. You take that sheets, you take that clothes, and you take them to the laundry. Try not to mix your najis clothing and sheets with the other clothes that are in the laundry. Try to keep them separate. And when you put them into the washing machine, try to keep them separate. Now, you do the ghusl. Ghusl is very easy to do, and inshallah we will mention this in the next class. So here, if I'm in a state of janaba, what's haram? What things I can't do? Number one, touching the writing of the Quran. I cannot touch the writing of the Quran. So if I have a book in front of me like this, and I go and I open this book, this is not a Quran book, and I have even some ayat. I have some ayat in front of me here. If I'm not in a state of tahara, that means I'm not tahir, I'm not clean, I'm not pure, I can't touch those ayat. If I'm in a state of janaba, it's haram for me to touch the ayat of the Quran al-Kareem. So touching the writing of the Quran, touching the verses of the Quran, that's haram. And then touching the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the prophets and the 14 ma'soomeen. So even touching those, it's haram. If you go to some countries, for example, if you go to Iran and you go into ziyarah of Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, on some currencies in Iran, for example, on their money note or on the coins, there is a surah, there is a picture of Imam al-Rida's shrine, and under it's written Imam al-Rida. I can't touch that. I can't touch the name of Imam al-Rida if I'm in state of janaba. Entering the masjid. Which masjid? Masjid al-Haram in Mecca or Masjid al-Nabawi in Medina. Even if it's only to pass through them. If you go to Hajj or Umrah and you become mujnib, okay? You cannot go into Masjid al-Haram or Masjid al-Nabawi, even if you are passing through. I'm passing through, I'm going to that side, to my hotel room or my accommodation to reach it there. You have to go in different direction, because going through it, staying in it, it's haram. Staying at a masjid or taking anything in or out of the masjid, even a masjid, your local masjid, you are not given the authority to do so if you are in a state of janaba. However, when you are passing through a masjid, without stopping is allowed. Passing through a masjid, not Masjid al-Nabawi, not Masjid al-Haram, then it is allowed. If it's your local masjid. Continuing with it, what is makruh? We have haram and then we have makruh. Makruh is reading more than 7 ayat of the Quran. Reading more than 7 ayat of the Quran, it's makruh. Touching the cover pages of the Quran, touching the writing is haram. But touching the cover of it, cover here, it's makruh. So even in the Quran Kareem we have an ayah that says لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. You have to be in the state of tahara. Tahara, when we say in the state of tahara, that means you have to have wudu. Wudu, ablution, this is when you are allowed to touch the ayat of the holy book. Dyeing the beard, applying henna or rubbing oil on the body, this is what? This is makruh. Makruh means what? We have halal, we have haram. Halal, haram. Makruh is in between. Makruh, Allah doesn't punish you for it. Allah doesn't punish you for it. But what happens is it's not good to do it. It's not good to do it. So we have halal, you're okay to do it, it's fine, go do it. And then we have haram. And then we have makruh. It's better not to do it. And I'll come to an example right now. So dyeing your hair or your beard or applying henna on your hand or your beard or on your face or rubbing oil on the body, it's makruh to do so. Sleeping, when you are in a state of janaba and you sleep. State of janaba and you sleep. If it's in the month of Ramadan, in the holy month of Ramadan, and I noticed I'm in a state of janaba and I go back to sleep, that actually breaks your what? Breaks your fasting. If it's in the time of fasting, you should get up and you should do ghusl. Sleeping, it's makruh. Any other day of the year is sleeping in the state of janaba. Eating and drinking in state of janaba, it's also makruh. Why is it makruh to if you eat or drink in the state of janaba? It's makruh to eat or drink in the state of janaba, because if you do so, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes your rizq away or decreases your rizq. Your rizq comes less. It becomes less and less. Some people, they ask, why my rizq is not much? Because you were eating in the state of janaba. You have to become tahir. It's better to become tahir, then you are allowed to eat. It's more recommended for you to become tahir, especially if you have wudu. Some people they are on wudu all the time. If they're leaving the house, they're on wudu. If they're eating, they're on wudu. If they're preparing food, they're on wudu. And they renew the wudu when it comes to salat, or they want to touch the ayat of the Quran al-Kareem. We end with this. So if you have any questions, you have the email, you have the website, and of course you can ask down below. So I have some questions here. Let's go through them quickly. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The question is from the soldier of Imam al-Mahdi. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. How about if we do not know the person's religion, but I am sure he is not Muslim? The Kitabis, the ones who have books, Abrahamic religions. So we have 3 Abrahamic religions. We have Islam, Christianity, and we have what? We have Judaism. Islam, Christianity, Judaism. So Islam, Masihiyya, wal Yahudiyya. These religions, 3 religions, the Abrahamic religions, they have a book. We call them Kitabis. It doesn't become najis. But if we notice, we found out this person is Hindu, okay, or he's Buddhist, they are not Kitabi. They are not Kitabi. They are Wathani. That means they are what? They are polytheists. They are infidels. So that makes them najis. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam again. How about if there is blood? Okay, it says, how about if there is blood on our clothes and we wash it, but it doesn't become perfect? Is it still haram? I mean, is it still, I think you mean if it's still najis. So we said 3 things. What did we say? 3 things that makes it najis, that we can tell if this is najis or not. We said what? Color. That means I look at it and I see, okay, blood is what color? bread. Yes? So I see that there is blood, there is red on the clothing. That is the sign of this being najis. If I wash and that color goes away, it fades away, that clothing becomes tahir. Another one is what? We said smell and taste. Taste, I'll give you the example of the gum when they are bleeding. The gum when they're bleeding, that is also another example. So we conclude with this lesson. If you have any question, again, in the comments below. هذا والحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.